Hey, good morning everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss Pre-Market Report for Tuesday, May 1st, 2018. I'm Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Tuesday, welcome to May, and also quick update, we will be hosting a monthly market outlook later on this afternoon at 3:30 p.m. Central. You can use the URL https://join.me/pivotboss. And you will see that on the screen now, and that is going to be the code that you can use to get into the room later on. I'll also send out a tweet so you can click the link as well. Looking forward to having you all later on this afternoon. Here's a look at the ES in the daily time frame right now. We had a failed new high yesterday. Price pushed above 2-day highs, failed to hold above those two highs, and then started to run through the midpoint of the previous session's range and eventually through the low. It was a stop run day for the most part, where price closed near the lows of the session, and again it just demonstrates the chop that we're seeing still at the apex or toward the apex of this range. We're not seeing much decision in any direction. It's been a little bit up, a little bit back, up, back, up, back, up, back, up, back, and that's been the chop around the center of this range, and that's why I've been very cautious in this area with regards to the indexes here. Again, the best case scenario would be a drop into the zone and then followed by a bounce back up, or perhaps even running into 2800 and seeing a return back down. But at the moment we have lower highs here, here, and here. We got modest higher lows here. We're running out of space here to do business. At some point we got to see expansion, and likely that will occur to the downside, which could spark a major move, which could lead to rejection and a reversal back up within the range. So again, we're watching for signs of directional conviction. Right now with the failed new high, looks like the flow is to the downside, which could lead to a retest back toward the 2616 level soon. If we take a look at the NQ here, you'll notice that the NQ looks very similar to the ES. Very similar here, coiling up within the range. It's right at the center of its range, 66.53.75, and is now coiling up. We only have a limited amount of space to do business in this area before we're going to have to see expansion from the range. And again, expansion will likely take us to an edge, either this recent low around 6150 or that recent high around 7200. We'll likely see a test at that edge, followed by perhaps a return back to 66.53. So that's the likely trading range that we'll stay in for the next several months. And again, once we coil up significantly to one edge, it's about time to see that expansion. So we could be due for a move very soon. Again, based on failed new high 2 days ago and the continuation today, we could be looking at least a return back towards 6400 and recent lows. Here's a look at crude oil. Now when you're looking at crude oil here, you can see it's been very bullish overall. The trend has been way up since 42s. We've gotten as high as almost 70 now. We have a very tight range that is formed above 6700, or 67 even rather. 6629 is the top of the key range here. You can see a nice box is formed above there. What I've mentioned before is if there's any failure to hold 6700, we can now start to see a stop run that could take us as low as 6218, which is the midpoint of the key range. So that is a very important level, 67 and 6629. A break through that zone could really spark a stop run and a continuation towards 6218. Now if price can continue to hold this zone, say we break down and fail down here, that could be a major continuation higher. The only thing is, price has made a couple of rotations to these highs and has not been able to continue higher. And if there's any failure, another failure or two, that could really spark a stop run. The weak hands give it up, and then the price starts to rotate back to 62. So that's going to be something that I'll be watching out for here later on. If we take a look at gold, you'll notice that gold continues to push downward and has now reached our target zone. This is what we mentioned on this day right here. It was Friday. That was the day where we broke down below the FOMC key level of 1343.70. We broke down through 2-day lows, and it was a stop run, and that sparked 2 weeks of downtrending behavior, and we finally have reached our zone. Our actual zone is 1300 to 1306.60. Today's low is very close to that, so we might have a little bit more, but for the most part we're in the zone here. And once we get into the zone, we could begin to see buying pressure come in, and that could ultimately lead to a return to 1338. So that's the opportunity right now. The short-term sell has basically finished. Now we're going to see perhaps another probe into this zone that could lead to a nice rejection tail, something like this or like this. And that's something we'll be looking for. Maybe it forms a tiny range and then a stop run occurs. We'll see what type of rejection signature it develops. But for the most part, this is the zone where we're going to look for rejection and a return to 1338. Any failure to hold 1300 with a big stop run below it, say it closes at 1295, 1290, that would be huge, and that may spark a transitional phase from this price distribution to the new normal down below. So 1300 and a major close below it could signal expansion from this larger range. So keep an eye on gold here as we head into support. Lastly, looking at Bitcoin. If you take a look at Bitcoin, we've had quite a move up. Big break through 7,500. This narrow range was very nice. I mentioned any pullback here could be a great continuation toward 9,500 to 9,920. We got that target. Now what I mentioned is any pullback, even as deep as 7,500, could still be a buying opportunity for a shot at 11.3 to 12K. So that's the next major move to come, or perhaps that could come. Again, this has been a very bearish market overall since the futures came online, so every bounce has been met with weakness. But there could be a little bit more bounce in this one. Again, into the LVN above 12K. Nothing's really happening above this level until price can really break through it. Otherwise, it's a pretty clear area of resistance. So again, if prices can hold 7,500 on a pullback, we could be looking at a continuation, at least one more leg higher. So we'll continue to watch Bitcoin here. Any failure to hold 8,500, again, has short-term directional conviction to the downside. All right, that's it for now. Looking forward to seeing you all later on this afternoon at the monthly market outlook for May. We found some fantastic candidates in April, and we'll review some of those candidates and look to find some more. I'll also take your requests. We'll talk options, stocks, futures, Bitcoin, crypto, whatever you want, and we'll be looking forward to having a great session later on this afternoon at 3:30 p.m. Central. Looking forward to seeing you soon. All right, everyone, that's it for today. Let's see how it plays out heading into the rest of the session and the new month of trading. Good luck and trade well.